Good morning, students. Welcome to Geography class. And today we are going to read Chapter 18 Natural Resources. Nature is an enormous storehouse of resources. It has a large abundance of natural resources. It's a storehouse, and these resources refers to all the materials that is available on our planet. We all get these resources from the nature, and therefore these are called invaluable gifts of nature. We use some of them directly, whereas some of them are processed to make various utility products. As we have already told that natural resources are the gift of nature, as we all know that the natural resources are the gifts of nature, therefore these cannot be made by the human beings. And air, water, soil, plants, animal, solar energy, wind energy, coal, petroleum, etc. are some of the natural resources. In ancient time, people did not know and did not have the required technology to use these resources, so they could not convert them into the useful or the finished product as we are using today. And however, with the passage of the time, skilled and advanced technology and human beings are converting all these natural resources into some of the useful products. And several countries in the world have rich reserves of the natural resources, but these countries do not have adequate technology and know how to exploit the develop these resources. In spite of having a large storehouse of the natural resources, still they cannot use them, they cannot exploit and develop these resources, lack of having the skill and technology. And some natural resources such as air, water, soil, natural vegetation, etc. can be used directly by us. On the other hand, several natural resources are required to be processed to make them useful. Some of the natural resources we can use them directly, and some other hand several natural resources that are required to be processed before we use them, before make it into a useful thing. For example, minerals are to be separated from the ores, and natural resources must be used wisely. Classifications of natural resources. Natural resources can be classified in the following categories: renewable and non-renewable resources. First, let's read about the natural resources that are renewable. Resources that can be renewed or replenished quickly are called renewable resources. And these resources are unlimited, like solar energy, water, that is hydro energy, wind energy, and to some extent plants and shrubs are also the examples of renewable resources. And through water, soil, plants, and shrubs can be used over a longer period of time, and yet at the same time careless use of these resources may also affect their stocks. Now we shall discuss some of the renewable resources. First one is the air. Air is a mixture of many gases. It contains nitrogen, oxygen, some of the other gases, carbon dioxide, hydrogen, argon, methane in very small amount. Water vapor, smoke and dust. The percentage of dust particles, smoke and water vapor may vary from place to place. Now let's read about some of the prevention. How can we prevent the air pollution? That can be done through the following ways. Car engines should be designed to produce less pollutions. Lead-free petrol should be used in the vehicles. Factories should use filters in chimneys before releasing the fumes in the air. People with cough, cold or TB should cover their mouth and nose when they sneeze or cough. Then water. Water is also a very important component of natural environment. Water is not only essential for drinking purpose but also it provides shelter to many of the organisms. It is tasteless and colorless substance that covers about three-fourths of the earth's surface. The earth is therefore called water planet or blue planet. Water is vital renewable resource, that is a vital natural renewable resource on the earth's surface, and it is necessary for all the kind of living organisms, and oceans also provides shelter to a variety of living organisms, that is plants and animals. About 3.5 billion years back, life firstly it was emerged in water. Different types of plants depend on water for their growth, for their food, and they get water through rainfall and irrigations. Water is used for generating hydroelectricity and it is used to meet our daily needs such as drinking, cooking, bathing, washing, etc. Now let's read about the conservation of water resources. Conservation of water resources can be done through the following ways. The first way is grow different types of natural vegetations to slow down the surface runoff. It can slow down the process of soil erosion, and in this way the underground water storage can be improved. Then, rainwater harvesting techniques can also be used to save surface runoff. Adequate amount of water should be used in the irrigation process. Canal lining should be used to control the water seepage. Then, in arid regions, sprinklers, drip, or trickle irrigations method should be used in the agricultural activities. Recycled water should be used as the coolant in the industries. At home, we should also check the water wastage of water, and wastewater of the kitchen and washing can be used for the gardens and toilets. Thus, every members in the house needs to use water judiciously, and in this way, water resources can be conserved and managed effectively. Then the another is natural resources soil. Soil refers to the thin layer of the grainy substance covering the surface of the earth. It is the topmost layer of the earth, that is also known as crust, and it is closely related to land. The quality of the land is determined by the soil cover. Soil is formed by the disintegrations of the rocks, decayed organic matters by the living organisms, and water and air. Soil is vital for an area and it is governed by the agricultural pattern of the area. The topmost layer of the crust made of decayed plants and dead organisms, that is called humus. Now let's read about the conservation of soil. Conservation of soil can be done using the following methods. The first method is by afforestations. Under this method, rows of the trees are planted in short distances in the farms to provide shelter in belt, and it is mainly used in the coastal and dry regions. Then mulching. In this method, organic matter such as straw, grass are used to cover the bare ground between rows of the plants, and it helps the soil to retain the moisture. Then another method is to control overgrazing. Overgrazing must be checked properly. Fodder should be raised as a crop because the free movement of animal loosen the soil particles. Then counter barriers. This method is mainly used in the hilly areas. Grass, stones, soil, bags, etc. are used to build counter and outline barrier. Then rotation of the crop. In this method, different crops are grown in the alternate ways, and this is because different crops needs different elements from the soil. Then another method is counter plowing. It refers to the plowing parallel to the counters of a hill slope. It forms a natural barrier for water to flow down the slope. Terrace farming, as you can see in the picture also, and thus it also controls the soil erosion. Here, next step is terrace farming. This method of soil conservation is mainly used on the steep slopes. In this method, broad, flat terraces are made on the steep slopes to cultivate different crops. And these terraces control surface runoff and soil erosions. Another way is constructions of dams. Dams are constructed to slow down the flow of running water. Intercropping. In this method, different crops are grown in alternate rows and are sown at different times to protect the soil from rain wash. Then come to the natural vegetation. The groups of plants which have developed in an area without human interference, this is called natural vegetation. Example is forest. The growth of natural vegetation is largely depends on a variety of factors such as climate, relief, soil and precipitations. Now let's read about the conservation of natural vegetation. Conservation of natural vegetations can be done using the following methods. The conservation of natural vegetation means rational utilizations of these resources, and the forest being of primary importance, it is necessary to practice conservation at home to protect forest globally. Some of the following measures for the conservation of forest are of critical importance. So, we'll be reading the steps of conservation of the forest in our next video. Till then, goodbye.